Hi, this is a podcast of the Open Minded. My name is Roberto.
My name is Alejandro.
And today we're going to talk about social media challenges.
So I don't know if you've heard about the new challenge going around where there's three kids. There's one in the middle and two surrounding the kid, so one on each side. And what happens, the gist of the challenge is so all three kids jumping at the same time, but what the kids on the sides, what they're trying to achieve is causing the kid to jump on his own, and they stay put. So when the kid jumps, what they do is that they kick his heel. So when the kid jumps and he gets his heel kicked, most of his weight, well, it's on the top of his body. So what's gonna happen is that the kid falls back and he could hit the back of his head, or fall on his bottom.
Get a concussion or something like that.
Yeah, there's been many cases where, like it's pretty popular in Mexico, but it's beginning to immigrate to America. So people are doing it in America, and there's been many cases in Mexico where kids have serious head trauma. There was a case where a kid went into coma, and well, it causes very serious damages, and the children they're not seeing this, like they're not, they just see it as a way to have fun, just something they could post online on their social media accounts where they could get attention and people could have fun. But
yeah, like, I don't know, like, to me that's very dangerous. I'm like, I've had concussions before too. I'm like, not really fun at all. It sucks. And yeah, like, freaking, it's just probably like they're finding a way to get attention. Like, and since everybody's doing it online, they'll do it just to get those, like, that hour of fame or that day of fame or whatever it is. Because of course people are gonna talk about them. They're gonna talk about, like, what they did, and then like, of course, if it, like, reaches the news or, like, morning shows, they're gonna talk about the dangers of it. Because
what seems like right now we're in the era of people doing and imitating challenges. Because we have this challenge going on where you get kicked on the back of your heel, and we have the Tide Pod challenge, the cinnamon challenge, you have the Kylie Jenner lip challenge, also the, what was it, the toothpaste with charcoal, and it seems to get out of hand, but at the same time it doesn't really make sense. Like for example, the people put it, getting a Tide Pod and popping it in their head, but bursting it in their mouth. Like, it's, you're putting liquids that you use detergent to wash your clothes, like for a reason. It's used to wash your clothes.
Yeah, it's not meant to be in your body.
They're very noxious chemicals, and it could be toxic at the same time. Well, I've heard of a couple of cases where kids have burned the inside of their mouth because of the chemicals.
Yeah, because I think, if I remember well, it's like extremely basy. So, like, the pH, I think it is, the pH levels are towards, like, the base levels, but they're really high base levels. So I think what it does, it'll separate your skin cells or something. It'll separate the skin cells, so, like, it looks like if it's burned, but It's just there's some like separation. I don't know if it's to like the cellular level, but yeah, like that's why when you wash your hands, like your hands will feel a little weird and dry because like, I think it might
Well,
take off.
it's also because like it's when you're washing your hands with detergent, you have the
Oh no, the water, of course.
lipids. It has a polar head and it has a non-polar head. The non-polar head would be the tails, which is hydrophobic, which would mean it's afraid of the water and it's afraid of it's afraid of water, so it
Mm-hmm.
would stay away. And the head, it's hydrophilic, so it it's attracted to the water. So
Mm-hmm.
what would happen is that the detergent would go and try to attach to the non-polar head.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have that little chain reaction. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure of the science behind the effects of the Tide Pod, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure if normal detergent it dries up your hands, it would most likely dry up your mouth, and the problem is that you need that salivary amylase, which breaks down the sugars, and you need the lipid enzymes that break down the lipids inside your mouth. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're using the Tide Pods, if you're bursting it in your mouth, it's gonna dry up your mouth, and you're just gonna have a bunch of food going around your mouth, and you're not gonna be able to break it down. But at the same time, it would leave your mouth very dry, and it could seriously damage your tongue and
Mm-hmm.
your taste buds, and also damage the inside of your mouth, and most likely your teeth. But I
Yeah.
mean, and another problem is that like it tastes nasty. Like I don't
No,
know.
yeah, of course. It's like basically like when you're taking a shower and you get soap in your mouth.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's just like I'm not sure why they do it, but like if it tastes bad, that means that you shouldn't eat it.
Yeah, but
Um,
I mean that's why it's online. It's social media. They just probably it could be that they're just curious of like why people are trying all these challenges. Like what's the whole point? Or they're just trying to get attention, but I
mhm.
mean at the same time it doesn't. Yeah, it's like like the back of the heel challenge. It's kicking the back of your heel challenge. It's very dangerous.
Yeah,
But
of course. He's like I think back there's a I'm not sure what it's called. But I think it's the lambdoidal suture or whatever it is on the back of your skull where there's this like I don't know like
yeah,
this
it's
bone plate.
horizontal. It's where
Hmm.
it's where it's where that piece of your skull articulates with your coronal suture, your frontal. It's
Then of course if you hit that since there's like that like cut in your skull, it'll build up pressure and like hit your brain.
well at the same time, well, on your brain, it's a bunch of different sutures. It's
Hmm.
your frontal, your corona, and your lambdoidal. It's you have sutures all over your skull. It's
Mhm.
but yeah, it could cause a lot of trauma, and
Yeah.
at the same time, it could cause a clot inside your brain, and it could permanently affect you. But like,
Because, like,
did this one of the challenges that recently have uh, have gotten a lot of attention, but like
Mhm.
it's a lot more dangerous than the rest of the challenges that have been going around.
yeah, because there's more there's there's more potential damage.
Yeah.
Like in that than like let's say I don't know like the bottle flip challenge or other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really understand what is the end goal of it too. Like to avoid it or just to or if it's more like of a prank.
Well, I wouldn't say it would be well. That one, well, the back of the heel challenge could be a prank, but it's more like it's like the ASL challenge. I mean, it obviously has a, it's more different because you're bringing awareness to that disease, and you're raising money, and you're challenging other people to do it, so they could also donate money and do the challenge. But like this one, it's more like just doing a challenge because possibly people are challenging you or you just want to try it out. But yeah, it's like also the Kylie Lip challenge where they get a cup like any type of cup, but I've seen more people using glass cups.
Yeah, like shot glasses. I think was a thing that they said that worked.
Yeah, it worked the
best.
most. And that's pretty bad because at the same time you're bursting all the capillaries inside your lips, and well, you're gonna have swollen lips for a pretty long time. And I mean, it's not permanent, and
but then you could say that it's like the same thing as like, let's say like it's not permanent, but it's like surgery, right? Like plastic surgery when they inject stuff, you really don't need it. I'm like, at least to me, I'm like you look fine how you are. But I think it's more of an image thing. Like they're self-conscious about their lips, and yeah, so they'll.
well, the thing is that they don't. In most cases, they don't. They just do the challenge and like that's it. They just share it online. It's not. It's not more like like they want to have big lips or something. It's. I mean, if you want to get big lips, you're gonna get a surgery. It's.
I don't know. It's, to me, like I never really. Well, not really, because like like I do work out and I work out on my body, but like don't really understand why people want to change like a certain body type. But yeah,
Well,
artificial.
That would also involve societal pressures and expectations, but
because I'm pretty sure like like they do the Kylie Jenner lip challenge because she's popular, she's I don't know, she's hot or whatever it is, and they want to be like her. But of course it is a challenge, and some people will just do it just because of the challenge, but other people might see it as like I want to have lips like her, so I'll do it just to be like her. And like at least I don't really see the point in doing that. Like I've never really done it. I think you sort of tried the cinnamon, I think, before, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't recorded or anything. It wasn't with the intentions of
like putting it up
putting
online.
it on social media and getting attention. It was just curiosity, just try it out. And but I mean, that challenge, it gets a little serious because there's some people who just
they don't inhale the cinnamon.
Who ingest the cinnamon. I just had the cinnamon in my mouth. That was it. And I just spit it out. But I mean, I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but I don't know if you have to ingest it or just keep it in your mouth. But
I think it was just if you could handle having cinnamon in your mouth, because like cinnamon will burn. Like to me, it burns. I've never really I like cinnamon like in small amount. Like let's say if there's like not the spicy candy, like not the spicy cinnamon candy, but like just it has like a hint of cinnamon, like when you're coffee or um like yeah, like arroz con leche with cinnamon or stuff like that. Like it makes it taste better, like just to have the hint of cinnamon. But I think it was just like if you could handle it in your mouth. He's like, yeah, it will burn. And
What?
like I think that's when like people will try to like inhale or they'll unintentionally like ingest it or something.
Well, if you would have it in your mouth, it would be ingesting. But yeah, that's where like it gets serious because I mean you're swallowing dry powder, so
Mm-hmm.
what's gonna happen is that like once you swallow it, it's gonna dry up your esophagus and the insides of your bodies
Mm-hmm.
because the cinnamon is gonna be absorbing the water. So yeah, you could.
Yeah,
It's gonna.
and then like you have like those, you have that like cinnamon particulates in your lungs too, which will affect you
Yeah.
because yeah, like once like let's say your body will try to like cough it out, and since it's coughing out, that means that it'll be bouncing around in your I don't know like your lung branches or whatever there are, and it could cause damage to it too.
Well, it's gonna dry up the inside of your alveoli, and it's one of and another serious thing is that it could attract pathogens,
Mm-hmm.
and also because it's gonna be moist. It's a lot of pathogens are gonna stick
Mm-hmm.
to it, and you're gonna have a serious lung infection.
Yeah, so like the bacteria that you have in your mouth from
And
just
and the thing is that like
yeah.
if I mean if you're ingesting the cinnamon, it's gonna go into your airway because it's not a very big object. So like
Mm-hmm.
your epiglottis, it's not gonna remain closed because I mean if you're breathing in air, it's gonna go in. A lot of cinnamon particles are gonna be inside the air, and it's just gonna go inside your trachea into your lungs. But yeah, and like where also gets more serious. It's I don't know if you heard about the blue whale challenge.
No, I don't know what it is.
It's it was a challenge that became pretty popular in Europe, especially in Russia,
Mm-hmm.
where it's something uh, uh, children are assigned on they're assigned on online, and basically a person over the course of like 50 days they assign them tasks and missions they have to accomplish, and during those 50 days they have to well they have to cut themselves, and they do other types of harmful tasks, and eventually like once they reach the 50th day they commit suicide. I mean I saw a video.
Oh yeah. I think I remember.
Yeah. Oh, and they also well one way the police know it's the blue whale challenge is that like they cut a blue whale. I mean they cut a whale into their wrist.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I saw a video when a while ago, maybe around a year, where a girl she like on the 50th day she jumped off a building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I remember. I heard it in a podcast. And yeah, it's just like basically they condition them to they slowly condition them to like actually commit suicide. So like they'll say, oh yeah, like in the first day they tell you, oh, like, oh yeah, drink, I don't know, really hot water or drink this really hot coffee.
Yeah, it's very.
And then like yeah, it's not that like yeah, it will hurt, but it won't kill you. So and then like the next step it'll be I don't know, like jump off like 50 stairs or like jump over this gate, and like slowly they're conditioning you to like do more and more extreme things. So like once you get to, oh, now you have to commit suicide or whatever it is, you'll do it because now it's not really a big deal, because like you were conditioned to do other things that weren't as bad until you get to that level.
Mm-hmm. Well, but yeah, that recently has it's been slowly, the incidence of the blue whale challenge. It's been slowly
Going away.
yeah decreasing because the police, they're tracking down these people online,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, they're preventing these kids from doing this. But that's where it gets to, like, where the parents, the censorship of like what their children is doing, supervision, because I mean, there's so many things you could see and search up on online. It's very very extensive what you could see online, and that's where like kids end up walking into these challenges and
Mm-hmm.
getting the urges to do either these damage, life threatening or silly challenges.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know if you've also heard where the challenge where they apply pressure on your ribs, on your sternum, and like it like basically
Yeah, they're not letting
constricts
you.
the amount of air you could breathe.
Yeah.
So they soon end up blacking
passing
out, or like they go limp.
Yeah, because of the lack of
Yeah.
oxygen. Because like, yeah, like I think if I remember well, your brain is the thing that needs the most oxygen or the most energy being transferred to. So like if there's a lot of pressure on your ribs, like your heart might, I'm not sure, but your heart might not be able to pump as freely, and your lungs not like intaking that much
But
air
it's
too.
not necessarily like you putting pressure. It
No, it's just keeping
it just the
like
pressure.
keeping
It's
constant
not
pressure.
it's not that the pressure applied to the lungs. It's more like just the pressure applied to your ribs that would constrict your heart from expanding, and
Mm-hmm.
your
Then
lungs
your
from
lungs too.
expanding. It's
So it's basically they're causing like
they're just
more of a
fainting, like,
lack of room.
more of
some
lack of
sense.
oxygen, that they black out and they end up falling. It's, or also the choking. There's been many people where they just go up to a person and they just start choking them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I think you were the one that told me about that one before.
Yeah.
You were telling me about it, and like personally, like I've never really seen like point in doing this, and I think even though when I was small or when I was growing up, I never really wanted to do stuff like that. I would do like stuff that would challenge me like physically, like let's say if I want to jump over this ramp, or I want to run through this alley where there's dogs, and hopefully the dogs don't catch me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we did that a couple of times growing up.
Well, that would be more physical. It's
Mm-hmm. It's just like just getting that adrenaline rush. Like, yeah, I was always like, I don't know, I saw that more. Like, it's not really like, I think it could damage you. Like, let's say if the dogs catch you, or you don't hit the ramp that well, or you hit the lip of the ramp and you fall and eat it. But I think that's just more like the age or the time that I grew up.
well,
too.
in the time you grew up, there wasn't many
like,
challenges.
Yeah, there weren't challenges, or there weren't
because
that many things. I think like the first one that I heard of is planking.
oh
I think that was like the very first thing, and I was like, "What is that?" I'm like, it's like, it's just people will just lay down anything. I'm like, well, I don't know. That makes sense. I don't know how is that popular.
Well, there's some that aren't so bad, and there's
Mm-hmm.
others that there's like uh, challenges that involve dancing
Mm-hmm.
or just like doing a pose. It's there's some that aren't so bad, but it seems like recently with this with like our generation, it's children are their challenges are getting a little
Yeah, they're going overboard.
yeah, they're losing their rationale, and
Mm-hmm.
it's getting to the point where it has become very dangerous for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like every maybe week or like up to month there's a new challenge.
Mm-hmm. Which is the attention span of like kids nowadays. They want to do like the next big thing too, and of course they want to be popular and they want to do the newest thing.
But yeah, but like that's where like like I said, it gets to where the censorship of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's another problem how I mean if you're a busy parent,
You
how
don't
is
really
it
have the time.
possible? But I mean you could just look up the history. You could
Mm-hmm.
just I mean looking up
No,
the
but there's
yeah you could obviously erase it or like clear it out, but
no, but yeah, like it's and then there's those parents that they don't know how to use a computer all too well because like yeah, of course they didn't grow up with it, so they never really found out how to use it, and so like parents like that won't be able to see what their kid is seeing or see if they're doing something dangerous or they're investigating something dangerous. And yeah, like I think that's more on the parent. They should be more like not really more on top of their kids, but be more open to them. Like yeah, like at least if you don't really have that much time, at least you should like the few minutes or hours that you have with them, just get them to open up to you.
or you could just I mean how they gonna open up to you if like it's like they know it's silly and it's very pointless, and they're gonna they're gonna get criticized, they're gonna get scolded. Like it's like what do I tell my parent? It's just I just think
I'll just do it and
it
figure it
depends
out
on
later.
the supervision and the parenting. Like it's like if you're not supervising your child well, like they're obviously gonna be roaming around the internet and being influenced by things they really shouldn't, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they end up doing these pointless and silly things. It's
Mm-hmm. One of the silly things that yeah, like would damage you. Like probably that moment, or if not, you might feel the effects later. Like that thing where they kick the
yeah,
heel.
they kick the back of the heel, and that's
Like
also it's I don't understand how the person who's in the middle uh, allows them to do that,
mm-hmm.
because I
No, but
mean
and then like if you get peer pressure to it, you really don't have a choice. But yeah, you could tell them
well I mean
no.
it depends on you. Well, I mean you always have a choice. You're gonna have a
Mm-hmm.
choice no matter what. It just depends on
If you allow them to.
it depends how you handle the pressure. But yeah, it's well either way. Before you do the challenge, you're gonna know the outcome. I mean, it's already been very popular. I mean, if you're doing it in a school, it's most likely that they've tried it so many times and
Mm-hmm.
you've seen it before.
And everybody's talking about it, of
Yeah,
course.
you've seen it before in the playground, so you obviously know that when you go in between two people and they tell you to jump, they want you to jump because they're gonna kick the back of your heel. So, and I mean, I don't get the point of doing a challenge like that where like at the end you're gonna feel a lot of pain. If you fall on your bottom, it's gonna hurt. You fall on your back, your air is gonna like you're gonna lose all that air. Like it feels horrible. I remember a couple of times when I was a lot younger, when I would fall on my back, it would really hurt, and it would cause a lot of anxiety because I couldn't get a breath of air. I couldn't inhale very well.
Yeah, because they knocked the wind out of you.
Yeah, so, but yeah, either way, that falling would be very painful. So, I don't understand, but yeah, but
like to each their own.
Yeah, but like I mean, like there's like challenges like the Colin Kaepernick, or like well, like he's kneeling because like it's I mean it's understandable because like what because he has an intention, he has a goal with kneeling during the national anthem because I mean he's
like showing respect.
He's sick and tired of the treatment the African American community has been receiving by authorities, and I mean that's his goal. I wouldn't say I would. I reason with it, but I personally wouldn't do it myself. But
you understand.
I understand
the end goal.
Yeah, his intentions, and I accept it. It's well, like it's not silly and pointless like these challenges other kids are doing, because I mean he's trying to
bring awareness.
Yeah, bring awareness and show people what's happening, and just a way to start, because I mean he's a very well recognized NFL quarterback, and like after that he lost his job, but yeah, like he's like that's a good start because he already has a lot of fame and a lot of followers. So, but yeah, it's
yeah, like if you have a voice, I'm like it's better doing it for a good thing like him.
Yeah, but like what I mean, it's like it's not silly, and it's not putting others in harm. Yeah, you like him, you'd probably lose your job, but it's looking towards bringing benefits at the same time.
Yeah, it's gonna benefit like him and
the African American community. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just
it's like I know I've seen it in like even like at work.
What, people kneeling?
No, not kneeling, but like people like just discriminating. Because like we have probably like about, at least on my shift, we have like about like 5 black guys, and they get treated badly. Well, not badly, but you can see that like the other races there will like see them in a certain way. And like they're really nice guys. Like I prefer talking to them to like at least my race, which is Mexican. Like at least a lot of the Mexicans there like tend to be racist and all stuff. And at least like yeah, like I grew up not like really being like around like different races. Like we did have a black friend too before, and like that's pretty much the only interaction. But like I've never really seen him as any different. It's just that I was surrounded by Mexicans, so of course I'm gonna be with them more because they're there, and yeah, they're there for me. So I could I could go in and I could interact with them way easier.
Yeah, well, there's the social media challenges is just, I guess it depends on supervision,
Mm-hmm.
because it's also very common throughout school.
Mm-hmm.
So just yeah, the supervision of the securities around school, and yeah, supervision of parents, and just like educating their children on the damages, or just the pointless waste of time you're doing just by partaking in these challenges. It's
It's just yeah, like you should be aware of what they do,
yeah,
and yeah, like I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it either way. But like those
yeah,
people, like at least the more educated people or the popular people, like that do those challenges. Like I don't know, like let's say if one of your one of the people that you follow on YouTube does that challenge, like he should, like it's not his job to do it, but like since he has more following and like since he's doing it too, he should tell them like the damages or what may happen
mm-hmm.
if you do it wrong.
Well, either way, I mean, if you're an influencer or you're a YouTuber, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't do something like the back of the heel challenge, or something that causes a lot of harm. But
No, but there's people that do like really dumb things
but
for attention.
either way, there's a bunch of censorship on social media.
Yeah, like that's
it
why we
wouldn't
have
happen.
those. That's why we have all those algorithms and on YouTube. Like they're there to protect people. Like yeah,
Yeah.
of course it affects YouTubers. Like they're not able to make like the a certain amount of money that they did before they added all those like restrictions or all those things, because like I think there's a CAPA, right? There's a CAPA like law or bill that got passed where now YouTubers have to be way more careful if they make content for little kids. There's a lot more restrictions. I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing, and it's a good and a bad thing because, of course, now you're not able to, like, now you have to censor yourself and not really be yourself, in a way. But and then it is for a good like cause or.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I would condone the challenges with a good outcome, and just with intentions of benefiting yourself
Yeah.
or benefiting others. Like again, like I said, that ASL challenge, um, or just standing up for, just like challenges where you're standing up for your own cause and something you truly believe in. It's reasonable, and many other people would would reason with your intentions. But yeah, once it gets to doing a Tide Pod challenge, and the putting pressure on your chest, or the Kylie lip challenge, and
Yeah, you should just like
etc.
research what damages it could cause. If you
But
feel like if it's gonna be something that's not
but
as
again,
safe or,
if you're researching, you could be researching and you won't understand. In many cases, you probably wouldn't understand what the damages are, because it's like when you go to a doctor, that you ask the doctor to explain what's happening, like when you have diabetes, like how you become insulin deficient, or like like what does it mean? Like when you have so much glucose inside your blood, you wouldn't understand it. Most people wouldn't really understand it, and you wouldn't go out of your way to ask them because, yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the same time, well, I mean that's one good thing about the news. It's that like they inform you about the effects of many things, like challenges going around. Yeah, it's like also the vaping. When I mean it's still an epidemic, but it wasn't like it wasn't as serious as it was back then on media. Where like I remember it was maybe it was last year, like possibly around October. Yeah, many news platforms they were talking about the effects, how like on X-rays people's lungs appear black, and like how like it becomes very swollen and it just burns the inside of your lungs. And yeah, like it's, I mean, you get informed. That's how I found out about the kicking the back of the heel challenge. I was watching a Mexican news channel, and like they were talking about like it being a serious challenge that became popular in Mexico. And yeah, they were interviewing various teachers in Mexico, saying how like they talked about a child who went into coma after after he or she fell and hit the back of her head. Or his head. Yeah, but I mean, in that case, they would explain it. They would make it a little more brief and more applicable to people, because I mean, so many people are watching the TV and the news. It's very broad. Yeah, it's a very diverse audience. So
yeah, just hopefully it reaches those kids that are about to do it, and yeah, like, so hopefully it'll prevent them from doing that, because like they see the damages that it could cause.
Yeah, I mean, they see it. They let their entertainment get in the way. Just them getting entertained, that seems to get into their way, where they just do it without thinking before they partake in the challenge. And once the damages happen, it's irreversible. There's nothing you could do. So yeah,
it's just, well, I think it's just basically like,
I say
just research and like
just being
learn.
Careful.
Yeah,
being careful what you're doing, what you pick and choose on social media, what you're following. I'd say just go with things that are more rational. Yeah, don't just do a bunch of different challenges, very silly challenges, and end up hurting yourself.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Alright, so this is the end of the episode, and this episode we talked about social media challenges, and we hope you liked it. And
just be aware of the challenges that you do, or yeah. Okay, then, bye.